Hey, Wire Monkeys, welcome to another episode of Let's Start Cabling. This is a special episode because we're recording live at BICSI, and we got a special guest, Anthony Romeo from Wise Components and the infamous WiseUp Podcast.
Yep.
And we've known each other for
a few
2 years.
Yeah.
And we finally just met. BICSI is great for meeting people that you talk to on the phone all the time and you don't necessarily see them all the time, right? So, Anthony, thank you. Welcome to the Let's Talk Cabling Podcast.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. It's great to be here in person, getting to collaborate with you at BICSI 2024 Winter Conference. It's so good to be here once again. 2019 reshaped the world.
Right.
I hate to say the new norm because it's coming back as we see. There's people in the crowd here, and I'm so thrilled to be here and a part of it. As we've been doing great things this past year. We went to BICSI Fall Conference in Vegas, and it ignited a fire under people's and I'm really proud of what they're doing and only see great things in the near future.
So I'm a man of my word. Well, no, technically I'm not, because I told you I'd give you your questions by Sunday.
Yeah.
And here we are on Tuesday, and I'm going to give you the questions right now, right off the top of my head, shooting from the hip. You ready? Here's the two subjects I want to cover. First, I want to cover the life of a content creator in the low voltage industry. Okay. You should be able to talk about that.
I think I can.
And also then talk about mentorship.
I think I can do that as well.
There we go. So let's start off with life of a content creator. So tell us briefly about your podcast and why you got into doing your podcast.
Well, just to backpedal, before the podcast came Wise Components. Many of the people here in this room today, we work with Wise Components has been a stocking distributor of Layer 1 infrastructure since 1975. And before that, mainly various components to help with primarily medical manufacturing facilities globally since the 1930s. I got involved with Wise in 2017. And since then, I'm trying not to break anything. The company has been going strong for so many years without me screwing it up. So when I came on board the first year, I kind of just sat back, fly on the wall, hoping that I got to meet so many wonderful people, which I did, and see what they did and why people kept coming back and back over year in and year out. Then in 2018, we contracted SEO, content creator and writer, and he exposed us to all these wonderful things and aspects: search engine optimization, newsletters, podcasts, blog. And we were totally oblivious to that side of the business, right? We didn't know what that means to educating the masses, right? So the initial reason to starting the podcast stemmed from creating the newsletter. And when we were getting newsletter, I think when we first started it, it went up to about 16,000 subscribers. And I said, wow, I didn't think we had that many things to write about, but apparently we did.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, we might have some things to talk about. So we created the WiseUp Podcast, where we're interviewing manufacturers, owners reps, contractors, design engineerings, talking about standards, codes, different product sets that are coming out, things that they believe are benefits to, what it is. And the other thing, I was laughing to myself because when I talk to people at parties, like many of us cable monkeys in the industry.
Wire monkeys.
Wire monkeys.
Wire monkeys.
Wire monkeys.
Wait,
Let me slap it on my head.
Yeah.
So when we talk to people at dinner parties, they say we're in cable, and they go, "Oh, so you work for Cablevision?" And it's like there's so many wonderful facets from design, implementation, and the vendor the logistics aspects of it. So with that being said, I had this platform that we helped create, and WiseUp was able to say, hey, if you're in the healthcare space, education space, financial space, it doesn't matter. because layer one infrastructure is so vital. It's the fifth utility, and people have to see what it's worth. And that's what we're trying to do. So it's not like, because we're a stocking distributor, we don't ever talk about Wise components in that way. We're always saying it's about educating the masses. We're not talking about, act now, buy now. That's not what it's about. It's about basically talking about the features, functions, and benefits, how to make it a little simpler. Why not use this product versus that product, or give it a shot, and brand recognition to help people understand. Right. So that's why we created the podcast.
Who is your target audience?
So right now it's varying. We do have statistics. So I will say who's listening to us first is probably 18 to 35 years of age, right? And as I look in this room, I don't see a lot of 18 to 35 years of age. Our target audience, it varies as we're projecting our message to the masses. So it's not just 18 to 35, but that's who's listening to us, because that's who has the Spotify, that's who's listening to all the different media streams that we're on, whether it be Apple or Google or how you get your podcasts, right?
So you say that's your current audience. Was that who you were trying to reach when you started it?
No.
Who were you trying to reach when you started?
So if I look around the room that we're in sitting today, I just wanted to reach out to the masses and hit the masses, but it opened my eyes to understand that the masses are aging, myself included. We've been doing this a long time. I started as a contractor, worked my way through the manufacturer chain, and now, proud owner of a distribution company. Mm-hmm. So as I look around again the room, there's a lot of bald guys and there's a lot of gray hairs around this room. We're not too many youth in here. So it's really, my goal is to help not only educate the people that are in the industry, but also educate the people that are not yet in the industry and understand that there's, hey, listen, money to be made, and you give it a chance.
So I found the same thing with my podcast. Well, although my podcast, I initially targeted that audience, but I was in the standards work group this week at BICSI, and Bob Hurling, the guy who runs that, he was talking about how the industry's aging out and how do we attract younger people, and this is one of those ways to do that.
Right?
So you probably had visions of glory of getting in. I'm going to be a content creator. I'm going to be famous, infamous. What is one thing that you didn't expect to be or have as a podcaster or a content creator? You weren't expecting it.
Well, what I wasn't expecting, how hard it was going to be. I would say, because we constantly are not only identifying guests to come on the show, but topics of discussion, like what do we talk about that's, interesting to so many people. Right now, everybody has a computer at their hand. So I could Google just about anything that I need to. So why am I going to listen to something that you're putting out or I'm putting out, right? So you have to make it appealing to the masses, right? So that's the biggest thing that I find. It's very difficult to keep content creation part. And we do a lot of due diligence. My team and I, we think about what's to come up with and what's hot topics. Like if I'm talking to a consultant, it's not just about the design aspects. It's about maybe laws that are coming into effect that could help our conversation that's noteworthy.
Mm-hmm. So that actually brings up a good point, right? So people always ask me, how do I come up with content? I'll talk about that when you and I switch seats, right? But I think if you just listen and watch, the content comes to you.
Yeah,
it comes to you. Now, see, you got a team. So you have it a little bit easier than most people. I don't have a team.
I'm spoiled.
You are spoiled, right? Yeah. So, how many episodes do you put out? You do? Was it a weekly, a monthly?
No, so we do we're not as active as Let's Talk Cable, and I'll be quite honest. We do season episodes, so we re-syndicate our podcast. So we do probably anywhere between 12 to 14 a season, and then we take snippets of each one of those episodes and we re-syndicate it through various channels. Because again, as I look through the room today, a lot of these people are probably on LinkedIn, but not a lot of them are on TikTok. And a lot of the people that are 18 to 30 years of age, they're not on LinkedIn.
Right.
And to get youth into our industry and preserve the things that we have already done and achieved, we need to be on those other streaming platforms and put aside any, differences that we might have from a, others' news feed.
Yeah, that's exactly what I told Bob in the group.
Yeah.
You got to go where they are, and they're not on LinkedIn.
They're not on LinkedIn.
They're not on LinkedIn.
I could tell you from hiring people that are young, 25 years of age, when they came on board, they're not LinkedIn subscribers, and I see from them, even when I'm in the office and we have a pickup counter. So a lot of times when we're doing promotional videos, giveaways, like we have a giveaway today. When we're doing these giveaways, the guys that are in the field, they have no clue about that it exists. Right. So what I started to do is in the pickup windows, I've been printing out the QR codes and saying, hey, register here, so that the guys that are in the field matter too. It's not just the CEO sitting at the desk paying the checks. It's the guys that are in the field, terminating the connectors. So we feel that it's important to, generate attention through various media streams.
All right, so let's shift our conversation to mentoring. Right, one of the reasons the industry's aging out is because people like you and me haven't been so great. Well, not necessarily you and me specifically, but our age group hasn't been good at passing along information to bring other people up through the ranks. Right.
Little guarded.
Oh, that's a great word. I like that word.
Keeping it close to the vest.
Right, exactly right. So we know that BICSI has a mentoring program. You and I both are on that committee. Do you think the industry is doing enough mentoring?
I don't think the industry is doing a good enough job about it, because many people are just doing their job and going home and punching that clock to some degree, and they feel like it's not my job, and they're not looking forward thinking. They're just saying. Whereas the way I look at it is like, I have so much to be thankful and grateful for all that I've, achieved in this industry. And it comes from people that looked out for me up the ranks, from my father-in-law, who was with AT&T for 30 plus years. And I had great managers at contractors that I work for, manufacturers that I work for. I was very fortunate. I had good leadership in my roles that I held over the years.
So let me ask you this. What can we do to help educate or open the eyes of the people who are just treating it as a job to realize, look, if you want to, because everybody wants to make more money.
Right.
Everybody wants to have the nice car, the nice house or whatever. What can we do to open the eyes of people like that to make them realize you can't treat it as a job, you got to treat it as a career?
Well, that's the biggest thing, right? If you explain to the individual it's not a job, it is a career, and that the fact is, it's so important that you preserve what you have achieved over the years. Like I could think back to, in my short career, how many companies I impacted, where financial institutions and data centers around the globe, and I could say, oh, I proudly had something to do with the success of that implementation. And I want that preserved. I don't want that to be poo-pooed on, right? So the way I look at it is twofold. One, I want to pay it forward, because along the way, I wasn't self-made. Somebody helped me along the way at every step of the way. So I was very fortunate. So I want to pay it forward. And two, for the things that I did work on and I did achieve, well, I want that stuff to be preserved. I want the next generation to understand that they too could have what I have, and it will be so good if they just open their eyes and understand it's not just about content creation, right? It's not everybody's got to be an influencer and we do a crazy, silly dance, right?
So I got to cancel my dance now? I had a dance step all set up for the podcast.
Yeah. No, it's so much more than that, as you know, and you've been doing an amazing job, but it's these collaborations that we need to continue. There's so many people out there that do content creation, and then there's people that do it for, I think the wrong reason.
Right.
And so I think
that's big. That's big.
People like
that's
us,
big.
we're doing it for the right reason.
If you're doing it to be famous, if you're doing it to make money, you will burn out, and you will not last long.
So when we first started, 5 years ago is when we started, and I generated some attention, some attraction, where advertisement companies were coming to us and saying, "Hey, you want to promote, brand X product?" And I'm like, "No, it has nothing to do with the IT community. So why am I going to talk about a little blue pill?"
Right.
And I'm talking about cable.
Right.
So it doesn't make any sense.
Right.
So that's why I probably could sell out and make some good money doing it, but I already have a thriving business that helps that aspect of it. And as in my reasons for doing this is like most of my reason is to pay it forward.
Nice. Pleasure having you on your show. And you need to come up with a good restaurant that we can go eat next time I come to your area.
Yeah, no. Food is very important to me. So if anybody's in the Northeast, let me know and I'll help you out. He's proof. Proof's in the pudding.
Yes. So that concludes this episode, and I hope you're having fun if you're here at BICSI. If not, look up the BICSI Mentoring Program. We have more mentors and mentees. So look them up and join. Until next time, knowledge is power.
That's it for this episode of today's podcast. We hope you were able to learn something. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on future content. Also, leave a rating so we can help even more people learn about telecommunications. Until next time.